Good morning. Good morning. It's Amy Amata here with my Holiday Chat with Amy. So happy to be here with you. And last night, I love this time of year. Last night I went to dinner with a couple of dear friends of mine, and we had gone out last year for the holiday season and did like a little gift exchange, and I said, let's get together again. And while it's not about the gifts, I just thought, why not get together? It was so much fun. It was with Olga Plastino, who some of you know. She's my photographer and branding and website expert. She's like one of my dream team members, and we really work so well together. And over the years, we've just become such dear friends. And Julie Danforth, who is a Seattle-based fashion designer. And some of you know that once a year or twice a year sometimes, I live a totally different life for a few days, and I actually am the MC for Metropolitan Fashion Week. And over the past few years, Julie Danforth has designed these gorgeous couture gowns for me to wear on the runway, on the red carpet in both Seattle and Los Angeles, and I get to like live this whole other red carpet lifestyle. So anyway, all that being said, I went to dinner with them last night, and the reason I'm sharing this is that we did these little gifts, and Olga, she started laughing when I was opening the gift. She's like, okay, this is just for fun. And I know it's gonna be backwards, but it says, boss lady. It's like one of those little things that you put on your desk. You know? Isn't it so cute? I know it's backwards because, you know, the whole flip camera thing, but I just thought that was really lovely. I'm like, yes, I will be a hashtag boss lady any day. Hi, Dawn, welcome, welcome. Absolutely, yes. Okay, so today's theme is all gonna be around sales conversations. And I know I've been talking about sales conversations throughout Holiday because I keep getting more questions around them. So I'm here to serve you, to help you. And especially for those of you who are coaches and service-based entrepreneurs who are talking to new people every single day. And what I've noticed is that when we're talking to new people, sometimes in order to really break the ice, it can take a little bit of warming up unless you know how to do that right from the get-go. So one thing that I do when I jump on a phone call with somebody new is I just really open myself up, like really see myself as like an open and compassionate and loving person. And just as if I were going to meet someone who is sitting next to me on an airplane or, you know, at a social event, on the phone, it's no different. Where I'm just like, hey, it's nice to meet you. You know, or I'm so excited to chat with you. You know, just really be from that heart space and also know what to say and when. And part of it just takes practice. So first of all, I know that we're just kind of getting started here. I see Dawn. Dawn, why don't you tell me where you live and what it is that you do? Also, on my chat with Amy, I always like to invite you to ask any question that you have. So if you have any question on any area of business, like as you're with me here this morning, you can type in any question, and there's always a portion of the Holiday where I have an Ask Amy portion where I'm happy to answer your questions. So for today's topic, the reason why I wanted to bring up this topic of how to not be pushy or be a people pleaser in your sales conversations so you can go from that way of being to rocking out your sales from a heart-centered place. I wanted to bring this up because I was on an accountability call this morning with a couple of my colleagues, and one of them was talking about, she's like, you know, and she's a rock star, like a total powerhouse, and she just said sometimes that she feels pushy in her conversations. You know, so we're talking into that, and I said, you know, I think what can happen, especially for those of you who have been either in sales or have had your business for a year or 2 years or 3 years, and you've had so many conversations with people that to you, it's just another sales conversation, right? And when things come up, like if they have objections or resistance around what it is you're offering, once you get to the point of making the offer, it can feel frustrating on your part because you've been doing this for a long time, for those of you who have been doing it. Whereas for them, it may be the first time or one of few conversations they've had like this. So especially for those of you who are coaches or work with any kind of transformational opportunity, then things can come up for people. So when you're making the offer, just remember, this is a big decision for them, especially for those of you who are offering premium offerings. So as things come up for them, you get to really take a stand for each person that you talk to and not find yourself going into that pushy mindset of, I've got to convince them, I know this is going to help them, so I'm going to push them into this decision. And remember that nobody likes to be pushed. They like to be called forward, and they like to feel safe with you and feel like I can, you know, feel confident about making this decision. Okay, Dawn says, I live in East Tennessee, day job, college professor. Oh, cool. Working on a side hustle, helping people using speaking to advance their businesses. Oh, that's great. Awesome. So Dawn, I'm just curious, is this side hustle eventually going to become a full-time hustle? Welcome, Dinah. Thanks for joining. So here's what I wanted to share with you today around this topic. When you are talking to someone, so for example, Dawn, if you're talking to somebody about speaking and helping them use speaking to grow their businesses, which I'm a big believer in. I've spoken on stages. I've spoken on stages since I was a little kid, but really in the past year, I've really taken it to the next level of speaking on bigger stages with my own content and seeing how I can make a difference for the audience right then and there. And then also for those who want to go further with me, have an offer that can help them go further with me. So even when I've had a free offer where they end up on my email list and I can really be generous with them in that capacity, it's been a really powerful way to grow my business. So I totally believe in what you're doing, by the way. And also, when you're talking to people on the phone or on Skype or on Zoom or in person, notice what comes up for you and what comes up for them in terms of when it comes to the point of making an offer. Do they make a decision, say, you know what, this sounds great, where do I sign up? Or what's the next step? Or do they say, Dawn, this sounds really good, but I'm going to think about it. Or I just don't know if I can afford that. Or, I thank you so much for the information. And why don't we talk, right now I've got a lot of things going on. Why don't we talk in a few months and circle back? So just remember that people have their stuff that comes up for them, and then it comes out in different forms. Now, it doesn't mean that what they're sharing with you is not real for them. I just have found that oftentimes it is just a form of resistance. And then that form of resistance comes up in an objection, like, oh, I just don't think I can afford it, or I just need some time to think about it, or I need to talk to my spouse. These are very common things that come up for people. And oftentimes it is just a form of fear. So Dawn says, I hope so, close to retirement. Awesome. Okay, so does this make sense? So I would love to know, like I can keep talking about this, but I would love to know, for those of you watching on the live, on this live show, and also for those of you watching the replay, you can always post your questions later, but I would love to know for those of you who are making offers, what's coming up for you specifically that has you kind of finding yourself hitting yourself against a wall in sales conversations. So if you would be bold enough to just type in below, what's coming up for you in these conversations? Like, what is the resistance people have? Where do you get stuck in the conversation? Then I can better serve you and others who are watching this or the replay. Okay? I'll take a little sip of coffee here. Just know that your question can also make a difference for other people. If you're just joining me, go ahead and say who you are, where you're from, and I'm focusing on how to go from being pushy or people-pleasing to rocking out your sales and being in a heart-centered space. Hey, Desiree. Okay, so this is helpful. Desiree says, it's too expensive, or I don't have the money, and my offer is very reasonably priced. Okay, so Desiree, what that tells me, like, I don't know what's happening in the conversations leading up to making the offer. Do any of you have dogs and you feel like there's just dog hair everywhere? I just feel like dog hair is everywhere. I love my dog, but I just feel like it's like on my face. Okay, so Desiree, whenever somebody says it's too expensive, then there might be something missing in the conversation leading up to the offer that is establishing value. So this is a really key thing, because when people say that it's about the money, it's really about the value. And so it's not that what you're offering is not valuable, but maybe there's something in the conversation that's not demonstrating that value. So let me give you an example. Whenever I'm talking to somebody in an initial conversation, like an enrollment or sales conversation, I find out what it is that they want and what's holding them back. Those are the main things. I just want to know, like, why. Clearly we're on the phone for a reason. They're not where they want to be. There's something missing. And do I believe, and this is really key, do I believe that what I offer can help them get to where they want to go? I don't make an offer unless I truly believe that. So when I truly believe that, I listen to them. And I listen for specific things to, first of all, see if we are the right fit for one another, but also listen to where I can deeply connect with them. So if they say something like, yeah, I really want to take my business to the next level, I'm a coach and I really want to break through to that sweet six-figure point. Like, for a lot of my clients, they're at that sweet spot of, like, yeah, they've had a coaching business for a year or two. They've been doing things like social media and list building, but they've hit that wall of, like, I'm just not breaking through to where I want to be. And that first 6 figures can be difficult. And then going to that next level of multiple 6 figures and beyond is just that next step of the journey. So my point is that when they say things like that, I take myself back to when I was where they are now. And oftentimes I find that my best clients are people that I can totally relate to because I've been where they are now and I know what it takes to get to the other side. So for example, Desiree, what I'll say to them, like if I were talking to you and if that was what you said to me, like you were just like, yeah, I really want to have my next big breakthrough, and say, yeah, first of all, I totally understand. And I'll actually reflect back to them when I was in that moment. So I might say something like, I'll never forget the moment when I was sitting in front of my laptop and I really was like, I really want to have my next big breakthrough. I want to serve more people. I want to make a bigger impact. I feel like I have so many things on my to-do list and I don't know what to focus on next. So right there where I slowed down and said, I don't know what to focus on next, that's what I call a deep connection statement. This is one of my golden nuggets that I created in my business because I noticed that my entrepreneurs that I work with were not going deep enough in their emails to their ideal clients, in their social media posts, and in their sales conversations. And I said to them, like, it's not that you can't do these things and become masterful at them, you just get to go deeper with people. So find out where they are now, find out what's holding them back, find out what they want, and then take them to this is gold, so I hope this is helping you. Take them to a moment and share a vulnerable thought with them that you know is very likely what they are thinking right now. And just tap into your intuition. So I often can just intuitively feel what they're thinking, what they're feeling, because I've been there. So I intimately know what they're going through. So I'll say something like, I'll never forget when I was, at that point where I really wanted to break through to the 6-figure mark in my company, and I just couldn't see the path there. And I remember sitting in my home office, and I'll take myself there, and I was looking at my laptop screen, I had so much to do, and I just didn't know what to focus on next. So when I say that statement, they're like, oh my gosh, that's me. That's what I want them to feel, because then they will open themselves up to hearing what I have to say. Because there's a trust, there's a connection. They're like, oh, thank goodness, somebody understands where I am now, and she's gotten to the other side, and I would really love to know what steps I can take to get there. Now, another key thing is to not be attached. And some of you have heard me say this before, but I'm not attached to whether or not they say yes, and I'm committed out of my mind to make a difference for them anyway. I just trust. So then I say, so here are some of the things that I did. So it's not about giving them a laundry list of 20 more things they need to do, but just some core elements. So here's what I did. And when you share that in the form of a story, instead of going straight into coaching or giving them advice, then there's a deeper connection that happens. So say, here's what I did. The first thing I did was this, the second thing I did was this, the third thing I did with this, and ultimately this is where I am now. So I do it through storytelling, and that establishes value, credibility, connection, and when that happens, it opens them up to what's possible, and they're like, gosh, I want what she has. So when you especially when you establish that value, then by the time you make the offer, they've already decided. They may not have decided that they're going to work with you, but they've decided that they want to work with you and that they highly value what it is that you offer. So the point of the conversation, if and when I make an offer, like I said, I only make an offer if I truly believe my offer will make a difference for that specific person. If not, then I help them out any way I can, and I wish them well, and I say, let's stay connected, and that's that. Does that make sense? So then once I make the offer, there still can be forms of resistance, but it's so wild. They'll even say, Amy, I totally value what it is that you're offering me. And then they bring up whatever comes up for them. I just need to figure out how I'm going to pay for it. So I love when they're that vulnerable with me, because then I know that they're going to be coachable, that we have a connection, and that I can even help them get to the other side. The other thing, this is really awesome, is that in the sales conversation, especially I know a lot of you are coaches, right? In the sales conversation, there are so many coachable opportunities that why miss out on that? Because you actually get to demonstrate what kind of coach you're going to be, what kind of person you're going to be for them. So instead of either being pushy or being a people pleaser, some of you know I'm a recovering people pleaser. So there's a part of me that still wants to say, if somebody says to me, okay, Amy, I'm going to think about it, or I just don't know if I can afford it. There's still a part of me that wants to say, you know what? I totally get it. No problem. Let's stay in touch. Let me know. I'll email you. Let's talk in another month. That's the people pleaser. My recovering people pleaser wants to say that. And that would not make me a great coach. So I look at that moment when they have resistance as a coachable opportunity, and I'll even say to them, and maybe some of you have been on calls like this with me, where I've said to you, you know what, what's really cool about this moment? This is actually a coachable opportunity. So let's see if I can coach you through this. Like, regardless of whether or not you say yes, I'm not attached to that. I'll even say that out loud. Let's see if I can coach you through this to make an empowered decision, and let's see if you are open and coachable, because it takes both sides. And then we work, and they kind of smile or laugh. It actually breaks the ice. It's really cool. And then I help them open themselves up to possibility. And then we go through like, well, what if we focused on a solution versus a barrier that's going to stop you from the very thing that you want? Because at that point in the conversation, if I've made an offer, I'm confident that they value what it is that I'm offering, that they want to work with me, and that I want to work with them. Right? And then I get to hold their hand through the process and say, just like I would hope somebody would stand for me if I was feeling stuck in that moment in a conversation. I would actually hope that somebody would say, instead of deciding that you can't do this, what if we opened ourselves up to say, what if it were possible? What are some ideas we can come up with to make this happen? And then just opens up the mind. So, hi Kate, thanks for joining. Okay, hi Ash. Hey Becca. Becca's on my dream team. Love having you here. Don says, love the storytelling approach. Definitely the strongest way to speak to. Absolutely. Desiree says, I feel like I have a really good connection and they really seem to see, and understand the value. They're enthusiastic about it right up until a point where they have to take action. But I like the idea of giving value. Okay, it always gives me these dots and I can't see the rest of it. So yes, okay, so great. So Desiree, it sounds like you already have the deep connection piece down. And then it's just about taking action. So sometimes what I'll do, Desiree, and others that are watching right now, is to just hold them high. I share with them how I often look at who I'm being influenced by. So when I look up to successful people, and I always want to clarify, I don't just mean successful financially, I mean successful in life. Because there are people who are successful financially that I don't look up to because of their way of being. So if they're like wholeheartedly successful in every area, then I always say, when I look at these highly influential people in my life, I notice the golden thread, which is that they make decisions that are in line with their vision. They make them efficiently, they trust themselves to make a decision, and they're not wishy-washy about it. Or they're not like, oh, okay, I'll think about it, And so the more I have practiced that in my own life, the more I have grown, the more breakthroughs that I've had, and it's that forward progress that takes us to the next step. So I even coach them in making a decision, not in a pushy way, It's just in a very heart-centered, like a way that I would hope somebody would stand for me. So I hope that's helpful. Yeah, any other questions? Oh, the sun is shining today in Seattle. Any other questions? So this is the Ask Amy portion of Holland Daily. I came with that yesterday. I'm like, this is the Ask Amy portion. So this is your chance to ask me anything. So whether it's related to the topic today, or if there's an area of your business, your mindset, your sales, your marketing, or your messaging, if there's anything that's coming up for you right now, this is a great chance to ask me anything. And just know that when you ask a question, you're actually being highly generous, because whatever I answer just may help somebody else that watches this either live or when they watch the replay. Okay? Any questions? Hi, Fidel. Kate says, yes. Oh, I just love the sunshine. So great. So any other questions? If you're just joining me, I've been going over how to go from being pushy and people-pleasing in your sales conversations to rocking them out from a heart-centered place. So if you've missed some of it, you can always watch the replay. Sonia says, Amy, a challenge is still when it comes to going to the price portion to walk them through that and keep them in their vision. Any tips? Yes. Okay, so this is a big one. I feel like the people I work with or coach, oftentimes the biggest objection or form of resistance that comes up is the money objection. So first of all, and I know, Sonia, we've had the chance to collaborate, I always lead with compassion. Always lead with compassion. So if I, with integrity, understand what's coming up for them, then I lead with compassion. So it sounds something like this, like I'll just drop into my heart and I'll say to them, you know what, Sonia, I totally get where you are right now. Because Most people will not do that. My experience of most people when they're in a sales conversation or enrollment conversation is they will go back into talking about the vision or saying, yeah, but you really should think about this. Like they go back into selling versus holding them high and being at their heart center. So I drop in, I'll say, you know what, I totally understand where you're coming from. And in fact, and then I'll go into a story. So I go right back into a similar process that I was mentioning earlier of thinking about a moment in my life when I have made a decision that felt stretchy and uncomfortable. Sonia says, yes, and even though I know all of this, it's so good to keep hearing it. Repetition's good. Yeah, I know, Sonia, I know we've talked about this, and I love hearing it also. Like even when I talk to my colleagues, you yourself, like in hearing how you show up in those moments on the call, remember that even though you have maybe said those words many times to many people, this may be the first time or one of few times that someone has talked to you and you get to hold their hand, and just, say, hi, I totally understand. And I'll even bring up things that are more present, because even though I've gotten to a certain point in my business where I feel like in such a great space, I still have those moments because as I've grown, I invest back into my business, and there are these bigger and bigger investments that I make that the same stuff comes up for me. The same things come up. The little voice like, oh, who are you to think you can do this? Or should you really do this? Or what if it doesn't work? All the same things come up. So I will vulnerably and transparently share that with people. Say, here's the key thing. Name the thing that's coming up. Just name it. You can say the words, I know this can be a scary decision, or I know this might be scary for you. Because when you say it out loud, it brings it out into the open, and then the person you talk to is like, oh good, she understands me. I don't have to feel embarrassed about my situation or feel like I'm playing small. So do you hear what I'm saying? So I will actually share with them even a more recent decision I've made where I'm like, just recently I had the opportunity to step into this leadership training or to work at the next level with my own mentor. And it's like a lot more of an investment than what I've been paying. And in the moment, it's stretchy. And at the same time, I just feel like, okay, if this is in line with my vision and I know that I'm open and coachable, I'm going to make this decision and it's going to light a fire underneath me and I'm going to make it happen. So I just share with them where I'm coming from and how it has served me to make bold and courageous decisions. And then just ask them, so what comes up for you when I share this? And then anytime you ask a question and then be quiet. Don't say, well, what do you think about this? Because I think blah, 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 blah. So what comes up for you when I share this with you? Create space. And then allow them to open themselves up, because as you're sharing your story, they're going through their own process of it. And they're like, gosh, she makes a really good point. I believe that one of my biggest purposes here is to share the message of making decisions that are in line with your vision and your purpose and your message and your mission, versus making decisions in line with your fear. I say it all the time, and I will continue to say it because I've seen far too many talented and gifted people play small and live according to their limiting beliefs and not do the inner work, which is what Sonia offers. Anyone who wants to work on their inner game, definitely friend request Sonia. She's incredible at self-love and energy work and doing this inner deep work so you can fall in love with yourself again and make things happen in your life and in your, well, I say business because that's where my mind goes, but in your life, like in every area of your life. So I love to hold people high and use the sales conversation, which I like to call it a make a difference conversation, to help them push past their limiting beliefs and make decisions that are in line with their vision. That's it. Because the more they can do that in their life, they will eventually look back on a life where they were bold and courageous and they made decisions and they fell down and they got back up. And that's the other thing I tell them. I was like, do you want to look back? This is not from a pushy place. So remember, watch your tone of voice when you're talking to people. I say, do you want to look back on a life where you made decisions that were in line with your fear, or that you were that person that got up and set the example and said, you know what? This is a scary decision, but I'm going to make it anyway because it's in line with my bigger calling. I definitely want to be that person, the latter person, who looks back and say, you know what? I lived full out, because we're not here forever. For any of you who have lost a loved one, you know what it's like to have that true moment of realization that's so raw, where you're like, wow, we are not in this human being experience forever. So what am I doing? What am I doing? What did I come here to do? And whatever your belief system is, I believe we each have a soul, and that we come into this human being experience for anywhere from 1 month to 100 years, and we come here to do something. And no matter how much time we have, hopefully we do something meaningful and leave a legacy so that this time that we are here was not wasted. I don't believe it's ever wasted. I think that we get to honor where we are. I honor where I am every single day. I show gratitude and I watch what comes up for me when I have my own triggers. I'm like, I'm here to make a difference. I'm here to make an impact. I'm not going to let anything hold me back, because if I do, then that's me playing small. And I know that's not what I came here to do. So I share my belief. I used to never talk like this, you know, but then I thought, you know what? I'm just going to open myself up and share from my heart, and people will either resonate with it or not. And that's okay, because the people who resonate with me, then we're going to go further. We're going to go the distance. We're going to make some things happen, and also know that we're not alone in the process. So great questions. Great questions. Hey, Tiffany. Awesome. Any other questions that you have? I know the lighting's kind of crazy about this window facing me and the sun is shining in. So yeah, tell me, I would love to know like what, you know, first of all, if you have any celebrations you want to share in your business, or if you have an area of your business that you're in pain around, that you're struggling, then this is a chance to ask. And then I will be wrapping up in just a moment. Sonia says, I have a call now. Love you and talk to you later. Okay, sounds good, Sonia. All right, on that note, unless anyone has any other questions, you can share what you're up to today. Today's a fun coaching day for me, so I get to connect with some of my private premium coaching clients, and I'm also working on my amazing powerhouse experience. So I know some of you have been hearing about this whole powerhouse thing. I'm still with the dog hair, like lip gloss and dog hair, not a good combination. I know some of you have been hearing me talk about powerhouse. And in the last week, we've had 3 more powerhouse women entrepreneurs enroll in this amazing opportunity. So if you've been curious about what it would look like to work with me, my next awesome, epic, like journey of an adventure is going to be Powerhouse. And it's basically where we're going to spend 90 days together, where every single week we jump on a Zoom call. So we get to see each other's faces. We share our declarations, our commitments. You get coaching from me, personally from me. And also we're all flying out to an all-inclusive retreat on Captiva Island in Florida in February, which is a great time of year to just like go somewhere beautiful and be in this beautiful mansion all together. We're all gonna be staying together, and we're gonna have yoga in the mornings, a personal chef. It's part business mastermind, part work retreat, and part vacation. We're gonna have so much fun and also have massive breakthroughs in our businesses. So if this is something that resonates with you, then I would love for you to connect with me and let me know. I'll go ahead and pop the link below after I'm done with this Facebook Live, and you can check it out, see if it resonates at all. And yeah, I'm super excited about it. So let's see, any other questions? Okay. Oh, Ashley's in San Francisco. She just worked out, gonna visit coach. Awesome. Nicole, this is so great. Thank you for taking the time to share your wisdom and insight. Kate, so excited to be a powerhouse. Yes, Kate, you're coming. I'm super excited to have you there. It's gonna be amazing. All right, well, on that note, I'm going to wrap this one up. And of course, know that this is my gift to you, Daily Chat with Amy, weekdays at 9 a.m. Pacific, all the way through December 22nd. If this has made a difference for you, all I ask is that you click right there on the share button, write a personal note so that you can help others in their journey to creating the impact and the income that they've always wanted. All right, sending much love to all of you. Have a great day, and I will see you tomorrow. You're welcome, Fiddle. All right, bye-bye.